How many of you guys still watch traditional news? Like you go to CNN, CNBC, El Punto Rojo, ¿cómo se llama? BBC, El Rojo Vivo, El José Luis. How many of you guys still traditional? The majority of people wake away from that, right? When you go to the news, what do you usually see?
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, but there's not a lot of important things that matters. You know what? Regardless of what you do, what your background is, what you believe, politically where you stand, there's one thing that connects us, me and you, and that's money. Yes, we're living in a world together. Money all around, I think today is affected. Let's look at some actual stats, and I'll share with you a little bit about what the company and what we're doing. Let me show you something, and don't be scared, okay? I'm not here to depress you. I'm honestly you're gonna be excited after this. But let's look at the kind of world that you live in today. And what we did is we pulled out some national stats, okay, from the most expensive city, the most expensive to the cheapest in the 90s into today's world. By the way, 2024 is not 2022. It's very different. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
Let's look at how things are getting expensive. Look at that in the 90s. Can you imagine? Anybody who has kids? ¿Alguien tiene chiquillos aquí? Yes. How much did you think it cost back in the 90s para llevarlos a una universidad? Take them to a university. A 4-year university used to cost $30,000 a year. That's around $8,000. To go to school. Today, what do you think is the average? Around $140,000 per child to go to a good university. Tell me, okay, for those of you guys who know, how many friends do you know that went to school, they did everything right, and they got their bachelor's or whatever they got, and they're not doing absolutely nothing with their degree? How many of you guys know at least one person's like, dude, I don't know what that is. Yes, happens all the time, right? Average home in the 90s. In the 90s, an average home is $100,000 a year. A home, $100,000. How much do you think it'll be your monthly today if you bought a home for $100,000? What do you think you'd be paying for a home right now? What do you think? ¿Cuánto estarías pagando por una casa si fuera $100,000? What do you think? Can you imagine? How many of you guys be like, dude, I can own like 3 homes if that was the case back in the... By the way, it was very popular back then.
Yeah.
When you graduate, you got a good job, and then you can have a home. Today, the average home in national price is $450,000. By the way, what's the national price right now here in LA? Average price of a home? What is it?
7, 8.
And is it a mansion? We're talking about like a $1 million. You got Beverly Hills, bro? Crazy, right? By the way, with interest rates, how much is the average mortgage on a month? How much are you paying? $6,000 to $7,000 with interest rate being so high. But who's talking about this? Isn't it crazy? It's not the world that we live in today is not the world that we used to live back in the 90s. It's very different today. Wow. Right? Average cost of a gallon. Anybody drives trucks in here? Truck drivers, yes? How's that? You probably feel it, right? How much you fill up with?
120.
Crazy, huh? Back in the 90s, you could fill up with $20 almost. Can you imagine? You guys remember those days when you used to give only $20 and you still fill up? Today, 2022, the average cost of a gallon is $4. And do you guys remember COVID, by the way? How much did it used to cost in COVID to fill up your tank? You remember those days?
$5,000.
And $8 a gallon, kind of crazy. Cost of raising a child, let's look at that. Anybody doesn't have kids in the room? Like you want kids? Anybody wants kids? Yeah, praise God, you should multiply and be fruitful. This is how much it'll cost. By the way, do you think in the next 10 years things are going to get cheaper or things are going to get more expensive? What do you think? I don't know where you stand.
Expensive.
Hopefully. Right? Who said cheaper? Somebody said cheaper. Okay, praise God, right? Back in the 90s, right, you can buy a brand new car for $10,000. Can you imagine? Your monthly payment for a brand new car used to be $90. How many of you guys don't even pay $90 for your phone right now? You're like, oh, I paid $50 for my phone. That's how much you used to pay for a car. Today, an average car, around $45,000. By the way, insurance. What's an average pay for a car? I know, David, you were in the branch. What's the average payment for a car? What do you think average?
500.
5 at least. Plus insurance, what is it today?
Not 100. 750.
And you're driving a Rolls or something like that. But you're driving still a little sedan. Yeah? Come here. Look at this. Look at the craziest thing. Look, everything keeps multiplying. By the way, this is 2022. You live in the top 3 most expensive city in America. What do you think is the average income that you need to be making in LA to be considered middle class? What do you think?
Wow.
It's no longer what, just making 6 figures used to be what you balling. Yes? You guys remember those days? Some of us remember those days? Yeah?
200 Kellys.
We'll look at that, we'll look at those numbers. But look at this. Average income in the 90s, it was around $50,000. Today, $69,000. There's a lot of people here in LA, in one of the most expensive cities in America, not making that.
Wow.
So what's the issue? Look at this. How many of you guys see this and you're like, how many of you guys, gas prices were kind of crazy here in LA, yeah?
Yeah.
Up and down.
Yes.
Let me show you this. Look at this.
Wow.
How many of you guys see like $4 and you feel pretty good about it? Like, oh yeah, $4, thank God, yes, $4. Michelle, who goes to Costco to fill up?
I know.
Look at that. The most expensive state in all America is California. Just so you know, you're paying double than anybody else is paying. Can you guys see that?
My God.
Look at that, Texas filling up with they're still working the $20. I got 20 on it. Look at you. We're paying. You guys remember, it just went down to $4. Do you remember that? It just recently went down. I was paying $5 around for your gallon. Kind of crazy. My entire conversation, the whole point of this, is that you got to do something different, right? It's kind of crazy. It's kind of alarming. Look, that's how it looks. What's the number that you think? ¿Cuánto? Lo voy a decir en español porque hay muchos que hablan español. Y tengo un guest speaker, no se preocupen en español. Pero, how many of you guys think, what's the number that you think, a family of two, two kids, right? How many of you guys are like, back in, I'm from Michoacan, so like families used to have, 10, 12 kids. How many of you guys come from a big family? Yes, like it's very normal. What's the average amount of kids that people are having today?
1.5.
They're considering dogs like a child today. Yeah, it's expensive to even raise a child. A dog. But yeah, the number is 1 or 2. Why do you think that is?
They're expensive.
It's kind of crazy. Look at this. Okay, I'm not here to break your heart, okay? But how many of you guys have considered perhaps moving out of LA? Yes, I guess kind of crazy expensive. By the way, anywhere else is not as easier. It's all around 360. If you go to Texas, you need to be making $200,000 to be considered middle class today. It's a different America. We live in a very different world. Would you guys agree? Very different. Okay, after shocking you and showing you all those numbers, I'm not here to break your heart. Okay, I'm here to show you that there's a lot of hope. By the way, just because the world is going crazy and everything's getting expensive. By the way, how many of you guys believe Social Security is going to be available once you retire? Yes, optimistic about that.
So.
Maybe some savings to throw on. The average payout right now in Social Security is around $800. What can you do with $800 right now? Pañales, pañales. I mean, go to the market one, Costco, you spend $400 or $500, and that's true. Guys, everything I'm telling you is facts, and you're feeling it. I'm not making this up. You're feeling it. So, people helping people, guys, got started for 2 massive big purposes. Today, we are recognized as the fastest growing financial marketing organization in America. Wow. We went from having a tiny office here in Glendale to right now over 40,000 agents and over 300 offices all across the states. Our mission is to be the biggest FMO in history. We got started to solve 2 big problems. The one biggest problem is people need to make more money. Yes, how many of you guys would agree? Hey, if I can learn how to make some more money, I think I'll help, right? In addition to $2,000-3,000, it'll be a lot of help. And that is our #1 purpose as a company, to solve that problem. Our vision is to have not just 300 offices, but to have 5,000 offices all across the state. By the way, there's over 8,000 Walmarts. There's enough room. There's a lot of people in America. There's a lot of market. People need a lot of help. The second vision, the reason why we got started, is to help people plan for the future. Would you guys agree that people more than ever need to plan for the future? Yes?
Yeah.
How many of you guys would agree it's important to save some money for the future? Yes?
Yes.
How many of you guys would be agree, hey man, I can probably start saving to buy a house in the future, yes? I can probably save to help my kid go to college. By the way, the average college student is in massive debt, over $100,000 in average college student today. How many of you guys parents will say, I think it'll be really not a bad idea if I can put a plan in place to help them save for college, yes? So I'll tell you what we do as a company. We got started, of course, if you ever seen, have any of you guys seen this face before? I know you've seen the beautiful rock, but this guy on the left side, right, this is Patrick B. David, the founder of People Helping People and Value Attainment. Our whole purpose is to teach people principles of money, finances, how to start a business, and capitalism. We believe you have the ability to build anything. You don't need to ask anybody for permission, but what we do need is the resources. So we got started, we built a channel online. Today is the #1 channel for entrepreneurs online with over 6 million subscribers all around the world. Top 10 podcasts around the world. So for us, the purpose is to bring back hope. We want to be the biggest voice, bigger than the voice that the media is telling you, the Diddy's,